If you're wondering why so many people still haven't spoken about Palestine and are just standing on the sidelines while this ongoing horrific genocide is happening, it's because they live in a state of trauma and they don't even know they're in a state of trauma. Their trauma has become their status quo. So it's likely that in their lives they are in many layers of depleting relationships, give-or-take dynamics, codependent narcissistic dynamics, depleting jobs, depletions on so many levels that they are now locked out of the heart space, because that's what continuous dysfunction and trauma will do, right? You get locked into the lower three chakras, you're out of the heart. So they're not speaking because they're not compelled to speak, because they don't feel anything. They're not inside their hearts. They've left their heart space in order to survive their own human condition, right? So they're in a state of survival in their lives. And they might be very rich people. Usually rich people are in a state of survival. That's what I've witnessed with my own eyes. Like, money is the root of all evil. They serve this like whole lifestyle. Meantime, their relationship is falling to pieces. Like, their whole nervous system is shot. They're just like overwhelmed. They're not self-loving themselves in any way. They just put up with a lot of shit, right? They got all the moolah though. Okay, but the point is, like, they are in survival on a emotional, energetic, and spiritual level, which means they're locked in the lower three chakras, their own consumeristic needs. And they've left their heart space because they've chosen a life for themselves over and over again that is actually hurtful. They keep staying in the relationship that's like literally beating them emotionally, right? They keep staying in the job and like serving all these narcissistic personalities. They keep choosing this for themselves over and over and over again because of their conditioning, and their nervous system is just utterly overwrought and in a state of numbness and freeze, and they've lost connection to the heart in order to carry on living. Because if you keep staying in situations like this, you can't stay in your heart space. You can't feel anymore. Your body will numb out. It will go into a state of freeze as your status quo in order to cope with what you keep choosing for yourself. So these people are unable to actually even speak up for themselves in their lives. They don't know how to create boundaries. They don't know how to give a bottom line and say, oh, you're going to cross that shit again. Bye, bitch. They don't know how to do that. They keep choosing and gravitating back towards karmically toxic loops of behavioral patterns. In and out, in and out. They're in some kind of like, they're in like the deepest mire, right? And when you're in that space and completely out of your heart, then you're locked into the lower three chakras, which is just me, mine, mine, mine. I'm the victim. It's all about me. You can't speak for yourself. So what in God's name makes us think these people are going to be able to speak on behalf of the collective? They don't even know how to use their tongue for their own little lives. And because of that, they're just stuck in this little freaking tiny view of themselves. And that's all they care about, because they're in survival, because they're living in like loops of abusive behaviors and patterns that they've made excuses for, right? People think abuse is like, has to have like a fist, has to be like domestic violence. No. Most abuse, punches aren't even thrown. It's emotional and it's manipulative and it's gaslighting. And they keep going back to that shit over and over again. And that manipulative, gaslighting, duplicity, and that whole thing that people keep falling for, that's Zionism. That's what they do with their whole rhetoric on Palestine, right? That duplicitous, gaslighting, narcissistic thing. So all the people not speaking out loud about Palestine are most likely in narcissistic codependent dynamics. That's what I've witnessed with my own eyes and people in my own life. Yeah. So that's, if anybody wants to understand how in God's name the silence continues, the deafening silence, it's because these people they're going to need to pull themselves out. They have to pull themselves out. They have to speak for their own lives and shift their own lives before they can even possibly imagine speaking for Palestine or anything beyond themselves. You know?